What's up, everybody? This is Jay the Wanderer with Oakland Latinos Unidos, aka Oakland Latinos United, the voice of the Latino community in the Bay Area, California, YouTube, and beyond. Well, I'm on here with a new video for you to enjoy, and the video you're about to see is about, yes, you guessed it, education. And this is basically a message to all my young Chicano, Mexicano, Latino youth out there, all my Chicano, Latino youth out there, brothers and sisters, and my black African American brothers and sisters out there who are thinking about dropping out, who are thinking about joining a gang, who are thinking about, bullshitting around and not doing nothing, not getting your education. Well, this video is basically a little, booster to see if maybe you might reconsider and staying in school if you're watching this video. I know it's hard for a lot of us out there to stay in school because of a lot of problems that we deal with. A lot of us grow up in the hood. A lot of us grow up in the barrio, in the ghetto, A lot of us grow up poor. A lot of us go to shitty-ass schools that were designed for us to fail anyway. So, a lot of times, guidance counselors, teachers don't teach you shit. And they expect you to drop out. They want you to drop out. They don't want you to be smart. That's the way the system works. Why do you think every time there are cutbacks, the school districts want to cut down on things, or the state wants to help, don't want to help? Who's the first schools they always cut back on in any state? It's always the schools that have majority Latinos, Mexicans, or the majority African American, or mixed between African Americans and Latinos. Those are the schools that they always cut back on. Those are the schools that they fucking try to close when, they want to get rid of schools. Those are basically, we're the people that they target when they want to cut back on things, because they don't want us to get an education. They want us to be dumb, stupid, like that they can control us. But the thing I'm trying to tell all of you out there, even if the circumstances you're in are hard, even if the school you go to is shitty, take every bit of knowledge that you have and learn it and pass your class and graduate. Don't drop out. Don't let these fucking assholes, these racists, these white nationalists, basically society in general that wants you to fail, don't let them call you a failure, and don't let them point the finger and say you're a dumb Mexican or you're a dumb black that don't know shit, you're uneducated, you're a ghetto piece of shit. Don't let them motherfuckers tell you that. Stay in school. Try to at least graduate. If you don't go to a college, at least try to graduate and get that diploma, because in the future, if you do decide to go back to school, that'll be a big tool in helping you go back to school. Even those who don't want to go to college, graduate, get your diploma, and get go to a trade school or something. You'll make a pretty good living instead of selling drugs or hanging out in the corner. The problem is, a lot of us kids of color, Mexicans, Chicanos, Puerto Ricans, blacks, basically all of us kids of color, we live in this fantasy land when we're in high school. We're obsessed with drugs, gangs, sex, and, all the other bullshit, and we forget about our education, and we let it go. We take it for granted, and we do stupid shit and get caught up and drop out or get kicked out, or or sometimes we just don't give a fuck about education. Then we end up dropping out, and in the future we don't have nothing. We don't have no skills. We don't have no education. We don't have no credentials. So no job wants to hire us. So it's hard for us to get a good job, and it's hard for us to survive in the future, especially in these times that jobs are being taken away. Our economy is fucked up. They're shipping jobs to other countries, and the jobs that are around don't pay shit. So it's very important for you to educate yourself. Educate yourself. Knowledge is power. That old saying is really true. Knowledge is power. When I was young, I fucked around a lot, and I did a lot of stupid things. I was part of a gang. I kind of sold drugs for a little while. I was fucking girls. I was skipping school, and I did stupid shit. And I ended up dropping out of high school right at the 12th grade, right before I was going to graduate, and I regretted it for a long time. And finally I got my GED, and just now I enrolled in college, and I'm about to go to college full time for I could get an associate's degree, and hopefully I can go into a university and get a master's and bachelor's and master's degree, because I want to become a history teacher in the future, or something to do with history, because I love researching history. And I know I'm 32 and I'm stupid. I should have did all this when I was young, but I was a dumbass. I was caught up in different circumstances. I was, living this stupid fantasy life that a lot of us seem to want to live. And, I just didn't do it. But I'm not going to let that hold me back. I'm going to go back to school, and I'm going to sacrifice a lot of things to go back. But I want to basically finish what I didn't get to finish then. I got my GED now. Um, now I'm gonna go to college, and once I'm done with college, I'm gonna see about getting into a university. Hopefully, I hope it all goes the way I'm planning. But me, I'm older, and yes, I'm the one to talk. You know what I mean? But I'm just trying to tell you out there that are young, that still have a chance. Don't mess up like I did. Don't mess up like I did. If you have the chance to graduate, do it. And if you think about going to college, do it. Don't fuck around. You know what I mean? Like I said, Mexicans, blacks, chicanos, Puerto Ricans, Latinos, Central Americans, South Americans. We need to step up on our game, and we need to educate our minds, and we need to be smart and be the future doctors, lawyers. We need to be the future fucking nurses. You know, uh, teachers, whatever. We need to be the future people that are actually doing something positive for our community, instead of being the future gangbanger, instead of being the future drug dealer, the future convict in the prison, the future death row inmate, the future fucking gang rapists like the kids in Richmond. I don't want to read about Mexicans and blacks and Chicanos and Latinos being being thought of in a negative way like that. I'm tired of reading about, kids of color always being the criminals. I, for once, want to read about kids of color being the educated, knowledgeable ones, the knowledge ones, the ones with knowledge, the ones with power. The ones that, survived from all the bullshit that they grew up in. So, we need to really educate ourselves like that. When ignorant ass, racist, stupid, dumb fucking people come up to us and try to say we're failures and we're this and we're that, we could show them we're smarter than your stupid ass. We sacrificed them. We educated ourselves in a school that was a piece of shit school anyway. But we educated ourselves and came up on the top. So you know what? You can't say a motherfucking thing about us. That's what I want to see. You know what I mean? I want to see us tell society, the system, everybody out there that we're better than what they think that we are. That we can educate our minds. So stay in school. Like I said, think about it really hard if you're young and you're in school and you're watching this video. Don't drop out. Get your diploma. And if you did happen to drop out and you're still young, get your GED, and really reconsider going back to college or getting into some kind of trade school. Make something of yourself. Don't be a fucking criminal, and don't be somebody that's going to be like 30, 40 years old with no job, no skills, no nothing because you didn't finish school. I read a statistic that said that only 48% of Mexican Americans or Chicanos in this country actually graduate from high school. 48%, that's low. And that has to change. We need to change that. You know what I mean? Brothers and sisters, youngsters out there, heed my message, like I said, I know that the system was designed for us to fail, but we need to turn it around and show the system that we're not going to fail. And we're going to say fuck you to the system by doing that. You know what I mean? And like I said, if the schools aren't doing what the students want to do, if the schools aren't helping the students, or if the schools are failing the students need to organize like they did in the 60s. They need to organize and make protests, walkouts, and stuff like that. You know what I mean? Like the East LA walkouts in East LA in 1968, when all the students organized because there was racism, discrimination, and, shitty counselors and shitty teachers. They basically protested the school and walked out. If your school is being a piece of shit, organize. Organize students of color. Walk out, protest. Go to the unified school district and protest. And other than that, do something positive. Stay in school, get your education, graduate at least. Please graduate. Make that number be higher than 48%. And if you go to college, go to college. If you go to a university, go to a university. But educate yourself. Knowledge is power. Read about your history, read about your culture, keep up on your math, keep up on your reading, your writing. Basically those simple things. Do it. And if you need help, get a tutor or go find someone that'll help you, It's really not that hard. It's better than selling drugs and hanging out in the corner and, living this world, this dream world that you're going to be some criminal, the next Scarface or something, when in reality you're not. You're going to be either dead or in jail. So, or you're going to be 30, 40 years old with no skills and no education and very little money, having a hard time because you didn't do one simple thing, educate yourself. So, all my youngsters out there, Chicanos, Latinos, Mexicanos, and black kids out there that are watching this, stay in school. That's all I really have to say. This is something positive coming straight from Jay the Wanderer. And I hope you take my message for what it is. Alright then, Jay the Wanderer from East Oakland, California, signing out. Late.